It's Happy Hour again from Uptown New Orleans. Hello, I'm Grant Morris. Happy Hour is part of the family of shows on the podcast network. It's neworleans.com. When you walk into a bar in New Orleans and you pull up a bar stool, you never know who's going to be sitting on either side of you. What you do know is no matter what they look like, what they're wearing, whether they just got out of a limousine or just got out of jail, they're going to be happy to talk to you because that's New Orleans and this is Happy Hour, a cocktail-fueled 60 minutes of random conversation with folks who have nothing in common. Other than we're all New Orleanians in a bar. Well, we're not all New Orleanians because Sonny Duval is here and he's not a New Orleanian at all, are you, Sonny?
Montrealanian.
Montrealian. Do you not even know what the word is for that? What is the French word for a person from Montreal? Oh.
I think it's Montrealer.
Montrealer, that's how you say it. So you have an English accent and a French accent and an American accent.
Yeah.
And we've only been going for like 30 seconds and I've already picked all those up. How come?
I come here at least twice a year. This time it's been 4 times, so... Most of my friends are from...
This year you've been here 4 times already, and it's currently only September.
Mm-hmm.
So you come here from Montreal?
Yeah.
How do you get here?
I fly.
Fly? Well, that's a pretty traditional method, all right. What for? Why do you come here for?
Well, you know, it's New Orleans. I can't get...
There's no reason.
You don't have a... New Orleans.
You're in love with the city.
My mistress.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have an actual girlfriend here or anything?
No. I have a bike now.
A bike?
I bought me a bike.
That's nice.
Yeah.
That's cheap, at least.
Around.
And you got a free drink here. What are you drinking here?
It's margarita, frozen.
It looks great. There's a whole pint of booze.
It's mine.
It's good. I won't touch it. So you can come here to Wayfare anytime you want and enjoy Happy Hour here every day from 3 to 6. There's a giant board up here now, so I can read this. It's half price for all drinks between 3 and 6 every day, and half price off starters and something called bar fare. Do you have any idea what that is, Greg Tilton?
Well, generally bar fare is just the fare you'd find at a bar.
So that would be
Is that a good cagey answer?
Why would they put bar fare? Why wouldn't they just put starters and food? What is bar fare as opposed to a starter?
It tends to be smaller plates or like appetizer style stuff, and that's generally how I think of
it. You were just at the bar eating. What did you have?
Has some of the arancini,
that's bar fare.
Fried rice balls. Those are delicious.
They are really delicious here. Everything is really good here, actually. Sara Johnson is here as well. Hi, Sara.
Hi, how are you?
How am I? I'm all right. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine, thank you.
You speak very quietly.
Okay, I'll speak into the microphone.
Which is strange because you're a professional talker.
I am.
So you're a
I don't know how anybody else feels about that,
you're
but
a trial attorney, I heard. Is that true?
Yes, I specialize in federal criminal defense matters.
Federal criminal defense matters. So, Sonny, if you fuck up while you're here, this is a good contact for you. Do you know anybody here?
Yes.
You do?
Yeah. I wouldn't.
Do you know a
just
lawyer?
Come down here to no.
So this is, if you're going to spend any time here, you need to know someone.
Yes.
You need to know a judge or a lawyer or a cop, at least, right? When you say Sarah,
not in that order, though.
What would be the most important?
Well, I think a lawyer would be the most important, but that's obviously.
So if, say, Sonny got arrested after he drinks 2 or 3 of these pints of whatever that is, what is that, frozen margarita?
You can be sure I'm not going to get into trouble while I'm down here.
Yeah, right. Everybody.
I don't think they've passed an ordinance against drinking while biking yet.
Really?
I don't think so.
You can be as drunk as you want on a bicycle.
As long as
you know, it's not a federal matter, so I'm not certain about that. But
so what do you deal with? Federal? That's what? Murder?
On a grand scale.
On a grand scale?
So in order
what do you mean by that?
to have federal jurisdiction over a murder case, it either has to happen on a federal territory, like an Indian reservation or something like that, or it can be associated with drug trafficking because Congress has decided that drugs are inherently a federal matter. And so if you have a murder that is tied to drug trafficking.
What kind of drugs? Does
right now, it's
weed?
Mostly heroin.
Oh, really?
Heroin is I hate to say it, it's not necessarily the drug of choice. It is the most profitable drug right now to sell.
Well, that's good to know.
So, and that's why there's a proliferation of it.
How much can you get for the? Do you know that? How much heroin costs, wholesale and retail?
It fluctuates.
Between what and what, say?
It depends on source, location, quantity.
Well, how much am I looking at paying wholesale
whether you're buying in bulk.
Well, how much is bulk? A kilogram?
It's like a Costco for heroin.
Yeah.
Right. They're only
like
in Houston.
This giant jar of mayonnaise. See, why is heroin measured in kilograms when you see it in the paper, at least, or on TV?
Well, that's a good question. It's interesting because it's I mean, it's actually the federal government who measures it in grams, even though our country is not on the metric
pounds.
system.
Well,
Yet
that's
when
why
it's
I'm asking
sold
you
on the
that.
street, it's frequently sold in ounces.
Is it?
And so I have to say that my clients are actually very good at doing these calculations in their head. I have to have an app on my phone that's a little converter in between grams and ounces so I can keep up.
You have that on your phone.
Yes.
So your job entails you working out how much a kilogram of heroin is in ounces.
Well, trying to determine what quantity might have been reasonably foreseeable
So how
that
can
this
you be
person could be
defending
held
this
accountable
dude?
for.
How can you be defending somebody and say they're not guilty if they have heroin on them and they know exactly how much it weighs in both systems, metric and imperial?
Because it's rarely that clear cut. It's rarely that clear cut, and there's a difference between being charged with something that you're guilty of, and perhaps doing something that could be a crime, but that's not necessarily what you're charged with.
Not really, but if you say so, if you're in possession of heroin, say that's the crime, right? Is that what you only do you get that case?
Rarely.
Just possession.
Just
you
pure simple possession. It would be a rare instance in federal court.
So what normally would it be?
It would be a conspiracy, and it generally, as far as street crimes go that concern drugs and guns, it would be a conspiracy to possess drugs, to possess guns, or to use guns in furtherance of the drug conspiracy.
What is a conspiracy exactly? What does that mean?
It is an agreement
Between
two people.
being you and me, say. No, not you and me, because
Exactly.
you're the attorney.
It is.
Say
The perfect crime.
me and Greg. Say we were, in Sunny. Suppose the three of us had a deal to
Doesn't even need to be the three of you. It could just be two of
just
you.
be me and either of these two guys.
And it
Well,
doesn't
Sonny's
need to
the
be
best guy to pin
explicit.
it on. 'Cause
And you don't
he's a
need to
foreigner.
know the scope of the conspiracy. All you need is an agreement that the two of you are going to do something bad together.
And how would we get off of that? What would we be charged with? So having the heroin is no big deal. It's
not
only
that
the fact that we're going to do something with it.
It's not that it's not a big deal. You would certainly be charged in state court with that, but you would rarely be charged in federal court
But you
with
wouldn't
simply
be involved with
possessing.
it. So we'd have to, Sonny and I would have to have the heroin and then be conspiring to kill Greg, say. But who would bring that charge against us even? Who would care?
They'd have to have
Well, there's
Who would care that I was killed?
There's plenty
Well, if
of
you were dead, they would, yeah. But it's just a conspiracy. We didn't have to prove that
I
we
like to
killed
think
you.
they'd care.
We just have to prove that we were conspiring to kill you, right? Can you believe this would be your attorney? First of all, you're all fucked up on heroin. I mean, you're not carrying
Well, no,
heroin.
not generally.
And then
Not generally. Generally, I will say that there's
Not you, I don't mean. You're
no,
fucked up.
of course not me. But frequently, if you are in the sort of selling, the what I call the procurement side of the business, you're
You
generally
call it that. You have
not
like a nickname
using.
for it? Yeah, okay.
Right.
So people who aren't using it. So there's people who are buying and selling it who aren't using it.
Frequently, that's the case.
That'd be smart. But not too smart if they got caught and you have to defend them. But you look so innocent and sweet, doesn't she? Guys,
Yes.
really. You're the last person I'd expect to be like defending hard-ass criminals.
Thank you.
What do they think when they see you? They're like, oh, she's never going to get me off.
I would say, oh shit,
Yeah.
maybe is one of the things they think. I don't know. But
You're pretty effective. That's what does
in
it.
a matter of time, they realize that I'm probably not as nice as maybe they think I am.
Really? It's deceptive? You look sweet,
Thank you.
but you're not. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm not saying that I'm
Like
not.
Sonny looks pretty rough, but he's very sweet.
So my grandmother always told me you get more flies with honey than vinegar. So you always be pleasant, be polite,
Right.
try to get what you want that way first. And then if, people are
Okay.
being unreasonable, then you take a different approach.
So who's paying you? These people who are the conspirators?
Well, it depends. So there are, in federal court, there's also a lot of fraud. And so frequently
Man.
you can be privately retained in
great
those
gig.
cases. But there's also a mechanism in federal court for appointing attorneys to represent indigent defendants.
Well, that's one of the things you do too.
Yes, so I take appointed
Really?
cases as well.
So some sort of a musician like Sonny who doesn't have any, you don't have enough money to pay a lawyer, right? You're riding your bike around New Orleans. How much did you pay for the bike?
$40.
Oh, that's a good deal.
Yeah.
Right on. Where'd you find it?
I think it was close to the lake. That'd be Riverview.
Not in the lake.
Lakeview.
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 Right. That's why it's
Not in
called
the lake.
Lakeview. Not in the lake. So what does your grandmother tell you?
About what?
Sarah's grandmother told her you get more good stuff by throwing out sugar. Or what was it?
You get more flies with honey than
Flies
vinegar.
with honey than vinegar.
Actually, it was my grandfather. He would say, "There's all sorts of people, all sorts of ideas."
That
And
was
that's-
it?
That,
Isn't
yeah.
that a punchline?
Yes.
Just all sorts of people, all sorts of ideas.
Yeah.
Was that in French?
In French, yeah.
What is it in French?
Il y a toutes sortes de monde, toutes sortes d'idées.
That sounds better in French, doesn't
It
it?
It's
does
pretty
sound
simple.
better.
It
Yeah.
resumes pretty much everything.
There's all kinds of people and all kinds of
Yeah,
ideas.
and
What
from
is
that you can just like accept or not accept what people or their ideas.
Oh, you just let people have their own stupid ideas and you
Yeah.
don't have to. That's what that
and
means?
just carry on.
Right.
That's hard. That's a hard thing to do.
It is. You know, there's a guy who puts up some sort of graffiti around town. Have you seen this, you guys? Greg, what's wrong with you? Have you been overdoing it?
Of course. No.
Having trouble with breathing?
That's
I'm
his
good.
heroin.
Do you want a cough thing?
Nah, I'm all right.
I've got
Thank
one.
you.
I've got one right here.
Sure, why not then?
Look, I got Ricola.
Appreciate
Cough
it.
drops. You're welcome. That's part of the job. We have everything here. I don't have any heroin. That's the closest we've got. So, what was the question again, Sonny?
I'm not sure what was my grandmother
French.
telling me.
Yeah,
Oh,
I was
French.
going to tell you about this guy around town who's putting up
Yeah.
graffiti. Have you seen this? It's a white board with black writing that says, "Think that you might be wrong." Have you seen that around,
Yes.
Sarah? Great. Isn't that great? Doesn't
Mine,
that's kind
mine
of what
is
your
greater. Yeah.
Yours is your grandfather's smarter,
Yes.
but it's the same thing. I think that you might be wrong. What is that in French? Why do you speak French? Because you're from Montreal,
Because I'm French. No, I'm not French. I mean, I'm Québécois.
right?
It's a different kind of
Quebecois.
French.
It is.
Yeah, I'm not the Frenchy French.
You're
French.
more of the Canadian French, which is not
No.
the same as Cajun French either. It's a
No, but I
There's
wouldn't
three kinds of
call.
French.
That's another different thing. I don't consider myself to be Canadian. Technically, I am, but
what?
it's something.
Is that like some separatist
kind of?
French Canadian thing?
Yeah, like
Well, that's
the,
a big
Like
deal.
the Basque or the
Yeah.
Where are they live? The
Catalan.
Basques in Spain.
yeah,
Well, you're not related, but you're just saying like that.
yeah, like that.
Well, the Basques actually are a separate people, though, with a separate language and everything. But
So
French
is the
Canadians,
Cajuns and the
Cajuns are actual Cajuns from Acadia. So what are the Quebecois people? Where did you come from? I mean, not you, but where did they come from originally?
Originally, they're from France, but mostly the western part of France.
Western France. So that's French.
Yeah, that was like 400 years ago. So
Right. So when are they going to give it up and actually admit they're Canadian?
never.
Never.
It's always going to
But
be
how
50,
can,
50,
how can
50.
they keep it up like that? With the
That's just-
accent and the whole thing.
It's just the way it is.
I know, but isn't it strange?
Yeah, I know.
Once you leave there and you come somewhere that's equally weird, like here, don't you think it's just so difficult to hold on to? How have they held on to it for? How many hundred years is it?
At least 400.
400 years of
Actually,
being
I want to say it's 450 for something.
450 years of being French in Canada
Yeah.
against all odds.
Mhm.
And there's people
It
like
used to
you.
be mostly French Canada. Actually, you know your history. It would go down all the way to.
I know
Louisiana.
my history. Just really. Oh, Louisiana. Well, this was France, of course, as well.
So it was all France.
Yeah,
From
your,
Canada
your
to
Cajuns
Louisiana.
were kicked out of Acadiana region and pushed south down here, and that's
that
your
was
Cajun
later,
triangle.
though.
Yeah, I was saying that's how you get your like division.
But you're talking about Louisiana Purchase time, when this was all France here.
Yeah.
Well, that wasn't 450 years ago, was it?
No, that was a bit later. 17
like-
something.
Aren't we coming up to the what
It was
anniversary?
1807.
Is it 200 or 300 we're coming
It's like
up to?
1803 or
It's on,
1807.
it's on a license plate.
What, do you know
That's
that?
how we can remember the date.
that
It's
right?
just to save the
It's
date
300,
on the
Thomas?
license plate.
How many hundred?
Yeah,
1803.
this is Louisiana Purchase. New Orleans is coming up on its tricentennial founding.
So that's 300.
That's for New Orleans
Tricentennial.
specifically.
Sarah, tri means 3. Is that a new converter thing now?
You know, I haven't tried that one on my app.
Try
I have
it out.
not-
See
no, I
how
have
many-
not tried that one. But no, I agree that
heroin
the
legal?
proper term would be tricentennial for a 300
So that's going to be
year
our
anniversary.
300-year anniversary, and they've been there for 450, the French Canadians.
No, I mean when Quebec City was founded, it was in 16 something or 15 late 1500. Because where I'm from is Trois-Rivières, and it's 1634.
1634.
Yeah, second
Wow.
city in America.
Okay,
North
so
America, I think.
it's like a sort of parallel universe that goes on there, right? It's not just they have their own literary stars and movie stars and everything, and you're like a rock and roll star there. Are you like a big star in French Canada?
No, I'm an underground
Underground star.
Not even a star. It's not for me to say, but
Well, you can tell us the truth because we're never going to find out any other way because we have no access to anything that's going on in Quebec at all. No. We never even hear the word, do we? Look, this is how it works in New Orleans. This is how you produce a podcast in New Orleans.
Hello.
With a hip flask in your hand. Nice going. What's in it?
Heroin.
Not telling.
Liquid heroin.
Heroin. Is there a liquid heroin? There's not, is there?
I don't know the answer to that question.
I'm sure you can call someone who does.
I guess you could do sort of like opium tea or something, I guess. Yeah. Kind of be close to that.
Opium tea?
I guess I'd be kind of close, be a cousin of some sort, but it all comes from opium. But I don't think there's like a liquid heroin.
You don't think so, Greg?
Not that.
You ought to know,
I'm
right?
not
Because
intimately knowledgeable of the forms of heroin.
Isn't this what you do for a living, this Rumor Flies podcast? Greg is a producer of the Rumor Flies podcast, which is a very popular podcast about things that may or may not be true.
I'm glad someone believes it's popular.
Well, we think it's popular. Is it just all hype? It looks pretty popular.
Oh yeah,
it's well done.
It's been fun. We've got some excited people who love to email us and give us suggestions, which is awesome. Makes our jobs a little easier. But
so the sort of thing that you might look into is
the various forms of various ways to consume various drugs, I guess.
Well, that would be a
that
good
could be
question
one.
for
Is
you.
there? It's like, yeah. So what's interesting, I'll try not to get too rambling on that, is the way we usually structure it is we try to go like, we really try to at least have one or two on our list for each episode. That's like, I once heard blank, right? So it's MSG allergy, right? So people go, I'm allergic to MSG. And we're like, well, there's all these myths about MSG and what it actually is. And like, so we're like, what the hell is MSG anyway? And,
it's monosodium glutamate.
There you go. And
I don't know what the French for that is, Sonny, but
you do?
No, do you?
Oh. Glutamate monosodic.
Say it
more
again?
disgusting in French. Glutamate monosodic.
Oh, it is sound worse. Glutamate. Yuck. How do you spell glutamate?
Glutamate.
Glutamate. That sounds great, doesn't it?
Glutamate.
Okay, that's what it is. Anyway, Greg, in case you were wondering, in French and English. Do you speak Spanish as well, Sarah?
No.
Okay. Pity we don't have a third language to translate sodium glutamate into. But anyway, so you start with that question. What is MSG anyway? What is it?
Yeah, and well, also, even beyond that, usually Ryan's kind of our like science chemist expert over here, and he usually gets into kind of the nitty gritty of like what something is, especially if there's a
Ryan's
chemical
sitting
aspect
right here.
to it.
He's like a real scientist?
Yeah, he is. He is like a real scientist.
Wow.
I would say I would go so far as say he is a real scientist.
Is that right, Ryan? You're a real scientist?
I'm a chemist.
He's a real chemist. Okay, we're doing pretty good here as far as the professions are
so he'll
concerned.
usually come in with kind of the technical backdrop, and then we'll do things like, well, people say they have an allergy to it. Is that actually a thing? And we'll go and look at National Institute of Health. We'll look at any things we can find to back things up. We did one on sex and pregnancy recently, and there's claims about
They're connected?
where the baby exactly.
All right. It'll be a short show, I would think.
But there's so many things about what will determine the gender of your baby.
Okay.
It's something you eat. Is it this? Is it that? And so we were looking at things like where the baby rests on your body determines the gender. It's like, no, that's not true. And like, we go and we try to find the earliest instances of these things and why do people believe it. And some stuff we find we're like, oh, that can't be true. And then we'll look it up. We're like, oh my God, it's totally true. And it's more crazy than we thought. That's kind of where some of the fun is. It's like Snopes and Mythbusters smashed together.
Right.
What do you call it? Rumors and flies?
Rumor flies. It's like the old Latin phrase for rumor fugit. So it's, yeah.
It's a Latin phrase for what? What is it?
It's a Latin phrase that says rumor flies, basically. We just said it in English instead. We didn't want to sound too pretentious.
It is
Rumare
English.
fugit. So it just sounded more pretentious and, to be honest, not as easily searchable.
Yeah, good point. You don't once you get fugit order, is it pronounced fugit?
Everyone debates on how you say things. We don't exactly have ancient Romans running around telling us how to pronounce Latin.
Well, what's tempus fugit? That's something as well.
Yeah, that's time flies.
Time flies. And rumor flies.
Yeah.
What's
and
rumors
so the idea
fly?
is rumors fly. It's like once it's said, it flies off and just spreads.
That's an expression, right?
Yes.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Rumors. Anyway, it's called Rumor Flies Podcast.
Well,
So
you can just look up rumor flies.
How'd you come up with this idea, you guys?
Well, this kind of goes back. I'd been kind of messing around with podcasts for a few years. I'd done a personal one. I'd done a film one. Various little things that I kind of was half-assing. And then Ryan came on to one I was doing for a little while. And, we hadn't... It was the first time we'd seen each other in quite a while. And he said, I'm kind of interested in doing this, and he has a real axe to grind about misinformation, especially when you see this like you'll take a picture on Facebook and they'll go, this food has blank in it, would we feed this to our children? And a lot of times these things aren't even true. Like they're completely wrong, but it sounds right. So
Right.
everyone shares it and believes it, and it just spreads misinformation. So Ryan's very concerned about that and was like, really wanted to kind of take a stab at like, can we debunk some of these myths and prove some of the crazy ones? And he approached Josh to be his co-host. They're old friends, and
What's
he came
Josh
to
do?
me.
Is he some like physicist or something?
So Josh he's kind of a jack of all trades of sorts, but I will say his sports knowledge is unparalleled. He's definitely our resident sports guy, and he's just we call him our quality control officer because he's definitely got the fine tuning down. He'll listen to the episode, he catches little things like there's a pop here, there's a this here. He really holds our edits to a high standard. And
it's just the two of them and you. It's just the three of you. You don't have guests talking about.
we've had guests on a little more this season, but it definitely revolves around the two of them talking for 80-90% of the show while I'm watching levels, Googling things we need to look up mid-show, like kind of double checking things, or if they ask a question like, I wonder if blank, and I'll look it up real quick and be like, I find that it does this. And
So is the show that we hear, the podcast that we hear is live, basically?
yeah, we
You don't mess
do a
around
little
with it.
chopping, but it's mostly like if someone has to go to the bathroom, we'll pause, go, cut the in and out real quick and bring it back together.
You
So
guys
there's
have
a
to go to
little
the
bit of
bathroom
cutting, but
within an hour?
there's
'Cause
three of us,
we can
and
sit here for
we
60 minutes every week, and nobody goes to the bathroom.
we are weaker people than you then, and
You must be drinking a
I
lot
think it
more.
depends
and we're
on how
drinking.
much MSG was in their lunch.
Oh,
it's
that
all
could
about
be.
the MSG.
That might be. Does MSG make you go to the bathroom? Do you know that saying?
well,
no
if there's
idea.
salt in
Guys,
it.
chalk it up. MSG makes you go to the bathroom.
Where'd they come up with? Well, have you done a show about MSG? Do you know something about this? Or
Oh yeah,
just-
we did a whole thing
Okay,
on
so-
food myths. Our first food episode we did last season was MSG was one of them. We mostly looked into is there such thing as an MSG allergy? Like, does MSG
Okay,
have
well,
some sort of
is
negative
there? Because
effect?
I think
No.
it gives me a headache. It's not
A
true.
lot. The whole headache thing. There's no document. There's not enough. It seems to be very psychosomatic. It
Okay,
seems
well,
to be. There's
are
no
there
real.
actual cats in Chinese food?
We have not looked into that.
I've heard that
down
one.
Too. Are there cats in Chinese food?
Have you heard that one, Sarah?
I've actually heard dogs.
Dogs.
Me too.
Okay. Have you heard that, Sonny?
Dogs.
Do they have that in Montreal? What do they have in Montreal in the way of food?
Dog food.
Dog food. Do you have
That's
any?
it.
So you're a musician there, and you play sort of what sort of stuff? Because we've got some music lined up of yours to listen to, which we should do.
None of my albums are the same. They're all different.
They're all
so
different.
I like to change styles
Okay.
as much as I can.
And that's difficult to become a big star when you do that, though.
I don't want to be a big star.
What do you want to be?
I want to be able to live here half the year and in Montreal half the year.
Well, what's your immigration status? Maybe I can get married to you.
That's
Things I'm kidding. But what is your immigration status?
what does that mean?
Immigration. Oh dear. You've never
No,
heard,
no. I mean, what still
status.
status.
I don't
Yeah.
know if there's no.
But-
What's the French for
I think
status?
he's trying to ask, are you here on a visa?
No. I'm just visiting.
So you can
So
visit.
you're a tourist.
And for how long can you visit?
I think it's 3 months at a time,
That's it.
and then I have to get my big toe on the other side of the border
Right.
and come back.
But you can only do that for so many times before they stop
I could
you.
do that. Yeah.
But you can
how
only
many
do it for
times?
like, I don't know, like 12 times before they'll stop you, you know that?
Yeah, I don't know. I have to look into that.
You've got to
'cause
come
I'm
up with a better
seriously
plan if
thinking
you
about
want to
it.
live here half the time.
But now that I own property in New Orleans, it's like
It won't.
maybe I can
So
help
what
them.
do you own? The bicycle.
Yes.
That could go
That is
somewhere. I have
property.
to talk to my attorney about that. Could that help him?
My
sir?
attorney.
I would say that this is outside of my area of expertise, but because it's movable property, I don't think it's going to count.
It's not going to help you.
But I'm not sure about that. I'd want to check with somebody
Immigration
who actually
attorney.
handles immigration matters.
Well, Greg might know somebody. Do you know any immigration attorney people? That would be a good thing. That would be a good subject.
Oh, we actually have been
Immigration,
doing.
it's
We've actually been
very
researching
popular
legal
subject.
myths specifically. That's one we're working on right now.
Legal myths. But
for next
immigration is a
season.
big deal. Because you better hurry up and say, because once it's President Trump, there's going to be a wall up there.
Do you know how much we're scared that he's gonna pass?
No, what are people outside?
I
scared
think
as
Canada
shit.
would love a wall if he was
Really?
elected.
Ugh.
Do you think what is this? What is the impression, the perception of President Trump from across the border?
I don't know about everybody, of course, but everybody I know is scared as shit that he's gonna pass.
That he's going to win.
Yes.
And what do you think will happen if he wins? What's the fear?
I have no idea. I can't even begin to imagine, like when Obama won, like I was crying. I'm like, finally a good person like in charge of a country, and that's my opinion.
And then look what happened. Nothing's changed in the last 8 years. It's the same thing. Now we're back to square one again.
I don't think so.
You think everything's better here
Yeah,
than 8 years ago?
I think so.
Okay.
from an outside point.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't think anything's changed. You remember we have Obamacare, which is good. There's more health insurance, more people are covered. But other than that, everything feels pretty much the same as it did.
Gay marriage is pretty big difference.
But I don't think that had anything to do with him, and that did it. That was
under his
Supreme Court.
Technically, you could. I mean, he was president during it, whether you want to give him credit or not. But that's definitely a different country than it was 8 years ago, I'd say.
Yeah, but do you think Obama had anything to do with it?
Some of it, some more than others, maybe not.
I don't know. I don't know how much it matters.
Even if it's just a little bit better. I mean,
but we thought there was going to be a revolution when President Obama was elected.
A revolution can only it could be like just something small. It doesn't have to be something big. It could be just a little revolution. But now you're going to get a real revolution if you go back to.
You think if Trump wins, you think it'll be a bigger change here than when Obama won?
I think so.
See, I don't really...
Negative one.
Yeah, but what do you base that on, though? You really think that things change? I don't think anything changes, really. Do you guys think... I mean, really, what has significantly changed in the last 8 years compared to what we thought was going to happen? When Obama was elected, we all thought it was going to be I mean, we voted for a Che Guevara, basically, with a poster, with the colored... with hope and change. And we didn't even vote for a president. We voted for a revolution, and we didn't get one. And the same thing, I think, if Trump is elected... Nothing's going to happen either. It's all everyone's freaking out.
You really think?
I would hope so. I would hope to think that we really are going to build a wall and kick all the Mexicans out of America.
Do you think about a wall between Mexico?
Nothing's going to happen. There's not going to be a wall.
And if there were,
there's not going to be a wall.
If people elect them, it means
he's not going to be able to do it.
Believe in that wall.
He's not going to be able to do it. You can believe in whatever you want. You can believe in that everybody's good if you want to. It doesn't make them good.
I know.
Right. So there's not going to be a wall. There's not going to be 11 million Mexicans kicked out of the United States. Nothing's going to happen. Don't worry about it.
I agree with you that maybe when you look at the change that a president can effect as an individual, it is relatively limited. But I do think that presidents have very long-term power and consequences because of their ability to negotiate certain treaties, to appoint people to the Supreme Court who will be there for generations to come.
That's the biggest one.
And they will interpret they're only supposed to interpret laws, but sometimes they kind of make laws too.
But then if you look at what's happening right now, President Obama is trying to appoint a justice to the Supreme Court, and he can't do that even. So even that isn't really guaranteed.
Well, there's also a very unusual case of how long this has gone on. That's kind of a unique case in some ways.
But it's always a unique case.
Well, there's how long this one's gone on. Usually they have to be chosen faster than this. There's a very purposeful feet dragging going on right now.
But that could happen again if President Trump decided to appoint somebody weird and everybody decided that they didn't want. I mean, I think one thing that could happen.
The change is that our appointment system changes.
I think we'll see Congress working together across the aisle like we've never seen in years if Trump is elected. Don't you think?
That would and could be a very positive thing that could come out of that.
I think it's going to be a great day, November the 9th. Could you even imagine? Either one of these people is going to be the president. So people are really freaking out, though, for real. I mean, people here are talking about moving to Canada.
Huh? Yeah.
Did you know that?
About that?
Yeah. So you could be in a good position.
Hence, us building a wall between
the Canadians. People should be building the wall at this point. Really. Do you think people are really going to move to Canada? Are people in Canada talking about that?
That people from the U.S. Would be moving? Yeah. We heard that a lot. Yeah.
You got an apartment to rent, or you got a spare room in your house? Where do you live you live in Quebec City?
No, Montreal.
Oh, that's right, Montreal. But what is the relationship between Montreal and Quebec? That's part of Quebec, or not?
Quebec is the capital city. Montreal is the cosmopolite. It's the biggest city with the most mixed culture.
So do you have a spare room? What happens to your apartment while you're away in New Orleans?
It's being taken care of.
But I mean, is it available?
No.
So someone's living in this. That's not going to help us. All right, you're not much good to us then. Let's take a listen to one of your songs. What's the last album that you put out?
Last one is called New Wave de Plage, and I was born in '72, and I started playing guitar and music in '86, and
so you were 14.
Hmm?
You were 14 when you started playing guitar.
Yeah. You're
How's that with no app or anything?
You're good.
Okay, so you started playing guitar at 14. Why?
Because
pick up girls.
No, I wanted to play guitar. I think it was actually the Twisted Sister video. We're not going to take it. That's what got me into playing guitar.
Okay. There's a great documentary about Dee Snider from Twisted Sister on Netflix. Do you get Netflix in Canada as well?
Yes, we do.
What do they call it there?
Netflix.
How do you pronounce that?
Netflix.
Very similar. It's eerily similar to English. Anyway, there's a great documentary about Dee Snider. Really,
it was a bit
really
long.
good. Did you watch the whole thing?
Yes.
Didn't you think it was great?
Yeah.
Did you know? I didn't know anything. I didn't know anything about
talking. Too many.
Really? I thought.
And this.
Did you know
movie
that
ends
story?
just before they get popular with "We're not gonna take it"? So.
But did you know any of that story? I didn't know anything about them
I didn't.
whatsoever. I thought it was fascinating.
Yeah.
The whole thing, and they grew up in Long Island, and there was like a really huge band out in Long Island, and nobody else knew them, and they almost made it, and then almost made it, and this thing went wrong.
But back to me.
Back to you. So, so the album is called New Wave de Plage, which means at the beach or something?
New wave. It's beach music.
Beach music.
Electronic beach music.
Electronic beach music.
Oh,
so you play the guitar on
it, I play everything, recorded, sang, did the editing, mixing. It's the first album I mix, actually. Very proud.
Oh, cool. Okay. So what are we going to listen to? What song? Do we know? We have
we could start with Bananana.
Can we, Thomas? We can start with Bananana.
It's a song about nanas.
And is that French for banana?
No.
What's the word for banana in French?
Banane.
And what's the song called?
Bananana.
Can you hear the difference? Sarah?
It's like la na na, it's like a shirt.
Sure.
What's the shirt?
Yeah, actually, you're right. It's a mix between banan and anana.
What is that?
Anana is pineapple.
In what language is that?
French.
You knew that, Sarah?
I did.
How did
See?
you know that?
Because I used to take French in school.
Aha. Strange that that's the one word that stuck.
It's not the one word
Pineapple.
that stuck, but it's...
Did you learn French in school, Greg?
Long time ago.
What school did you go to learn French?
Excuse me. I went to Country Day when I was younger, and then Jesuit for high school.
Okay. And where'd you go, Sarah?
I actually grew up outside of Buffalo, New York.
And so what school did you go to that learned
And
that?
so I went to, I went to a public school
Yeah.
up in New York. It's called Williams East High School.
Pretty good, though, if they drummed that into you.
We had excellent
Pineapple.
schools where I grew up. Yes.
So we've all learnt something today. Well, actually, no, only you and I learnt this, Greg, because they already knew it. And what is the word for pineapple?
La na na.
La na na. That is a great word. Better than pineapple, isn't it? I'm writing it down. La na na. Why don't we
That's how you write?
Yeah. How's it look? It's pretty illegible, right?
Sorry.
I know, it's shitty. You write it down. That way I've got more of a chance of... Why aren't we listening to this song? And you're like left-handed as well. Oh, that's not exactly what I thought.
Anana.
I wrote something else different. That's how you spell A-N-A-N-A-S.
Anana.
Right.
Oh, I would never be able to speak
I
French.
had an L
What other fruit? You had
in
L.
front of it, so it was the pineapple.
So it's L apostrophe. Yeah, look up so you can write upside down and left-handed. Awesome. So that's French for the pineapples, plural.
Exactly.
Correct?
El piña.
Alpina. That's in
Spanish.
Okay. All right. And what's French for the wall?
Pink Floyd.
Okay, very good. Thomas, what's going on with the song?
I was waiting for your cue, but then you missed it.
Okay, here it is. Off the very popular album, New Wave de Plage. The first single. Is that right?
It's not loading now.
It's not working. I'm trying to make it sound like official and exciting.
It's the New Orleans world premiere.
World premiere from
this
New
song.
Orleans of this song,
Yes.
La Na Na Na.
Bananana.
Bananana. There was a song similar to that, right? Remember? Mana Mana. You know that one? Yeah. So how do we spell the name of the song? Banana in
Banana,
English.
and you add another na.
Banana Na. Okay. There's a lot of build-up now. It better be damn good.
I think it is.
Okay. Thomas, please tell me it's ready.
Tell him. I told you in the email chain that there were problems.
That's right. We had a lot of issues getting the song even into the right place to play it. But hey, listen, you got nowhere to go, right? You got the bicycle, and do you have friends here? I mean, where do you stay?
Last friends I stayed with were in Mid-City, right by Bayou St. John, actually, by Pals.
Oh, that's a great spot to stay.
Yes.
Pals Lounge. So do you just call up people and tell them you're coming to town? They're like, awesome, you can come stay here for 3 months?
Yeah. Well,
Man,
I
that's
only
good.
stayed like for 10 days at a time.
And then you what? You have to move to other people.
No, I mean,
You're only
10
here for
days
10
here, and then I go back to Montreal.
Are you only here for 10 days?
Yes.
Oh, my God. That's awesome that you wasted a whole hour coming down here.
Yes.
Oh, terrific. All right. What do you do the other 9 days in 23 hours?
I divide my time between biking, pals, and amigos.
Amigos. We've got to get you some sort of a girlfriend. Do you have a girlfriend in Canada?
Yeah.
What's she doing while you're away?
Music.
She's a musician?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's tricky. So why doesn't she come with you?
Hmm?
Why
Oh,
doesn't
'cause
she come?
she had a tour.
Oh, what's her name? We'll look her up next. Write it down.
think you have it
I have it
somewhere.
down here. Now, this is a really interesting thing I've
Yeah,
got about
right
you.
here.
Mara
Mara
Tremblay.
Tremblay.
How do you pronounce that?
Marat Tremblay.
Oh, wow. Man, and she's Canadian as well, but her name is Mara Tremblay.
Québécois.
Wow. That's amazing. And so this is what they gave me. I guess Christian gave me this about
Yeah.
you. This is your 4th solo album.
Mm-hmm.
And it says here that that these people are on this. This is someone called Anne. I'm sure that's pronounced wrong too. Anne Arsenault. How do you pronounce that?
Marianne Arsenault.
Oh man, okay. And that's a woman, I assume, right?
Right.
She's from a band called Propofol, which is the drug that killed Michael Jackson.
Really?
I think so.
Huh.
Correct, ladies and gentlemen.
That's correct.
Correct.
Oh.
And then this other person, who's a rapper called Yabok, or however that's pronounced,
Yeah, he's a guest rapper on
is in
one
a
of the
band
songs.
called Dopamine, which is
It's
also
like a regular
drug.
pharmacy around here.
Yeah. So all these people are naming their bands after like drugs.
Apparently.
How do you? Apparently, yeah.
I didn't know about the Propofol one.
What did you think it was?
I don't know. I thought it was some sort of explosive.
Oh, no,
But I didn't
that's the
look
way
it-
you
didn't
pronounce
look
it.
it up.
Sounds more like an
Propofol.
explosive. Yeah.
You could put some Propofol in a bomb.
It sounds nice, doesn't it?
Sounds nice.
Okay, so listen. Until we get these this music, is it lining itself up, Thomas?
No.
It's not. Am I going to have to just keep talking all the way to the end of the
I
show?
think you should move on to another topic.
Oh shit! Well, you mean we can't hear the song?
Not until the internet starts working.
Oh, the internet's not working. That does happen. Okay, anyway, listen, I want to say thank you very much to Basics Swim and Gym. Do you know about the store, Basics Swim and Gym? It's a full range of fashion swimsuits, workout, and yoga clothes with style. You do yoga, right, Sarah?
I do.
And what sort of outfit are you wearing when you do yoga?
I wear regular gym clothes. I don't wear a swimsuit.
You don't wear a swimsuit to yoga? That's unusual.
No.
What do you wear when you do yoga, Greg?
I am not nearly pliable enough for yoga.
Really? Where did you get your swimsuit?
It's like some old ragged Nike thing.
Right? Yeah, okay. Well, you can't go to Basic Swim and Gym either because it's only for women.
Oh, well.
So don't worry about that. But you could go there, Sarah, to get a bikini, a one-piece, a cover-up. In fact, everything you need for the beach or poolside is at Basic Swim and Gym right across the street from the lingerie store Basics underneath. It's on Magazine Street near Jefferson Avenue. Worth checking out.
That sounds wonderful.
I love your sponsors.
They're lovely. And so is our friend's Hangover Destroyer, which is the only all-natural product medically proven. You can take this back to Canada with you.
Music underneath these cues?
Do you have some music now? Come on, then. Hangover Destroyer is the only all-natural product medically proven to prevent a hangover. Is this your
That's
music?
my song.
Here we go. You go to their website. It's
No,
called
you have to stop
hdestroyer.com. It sounds much better with this music underneath it. You can write Happy Hour on the coupon code and get 30% off of Hangover Destroyer. And you too can seize the dawn. And the background music we're listening to here is called
Lyrics are coming.
Bananana.
Oh.
Sorry about all that.
Okay, it's like beach music from Canada.
No.
This is your girlfriend singing? Mara? No.
Amongst others.
This is Anne and Mara.
Marianne.
Marianne. How do you pronounce that? Marianne.
It's yoga music. Beach yoga.
You smoke a lot of weed up there in Canada?
Yeah.
It's got a lot of weed-induced type sound, right?
Think so? You should hear the rest of the album.
I'd love to. What are you saying? What are the lyrics here?
It's just bananana and then à gauche, à droite, which means left, right, and left and right. try to make songs sometimes with as little lyrics as possible. This is one of them.
Are all your other albums like this?
No.
They're all different. There's no other beach music, just this album.
Yeah.
Wow. I like this, actually. This is like driving in a car type music.
Yeah?
Do you have a car? No, not really. This is pretty good stuff. Turned up loud, I would think, too, right? It's good loud.
Yeah.
Turn it up. What does banana mean?
It's just banana.
It's just banana with an N-A at the end.
Yeah.
How'd you come up with that and not some actual lyric that means something?
Yeah, so many questions. Just listen to the song.
Just listen to it and enjoy it.
It's my own personal poetry.
Okay. It's a haiku.
Huh?
It's a haiku.
No.
Okay, I liked it. What do you think, everybody?
And you mix that yourself?
Yeah.
That is very impressive.
Thank you.
That sounds like some complicated mixing going on there.
Yeah, it takes a while.
That's very, very good. It reminds me of Super System. You ever listen to them?
No?
Oh, man. If you like making music like that, you should check them out. It makes me think of Super System, one of my favorite bands. So, yes, this is a very good
Super
stuff.
System, where are they from?
They haven't been around in a little while now. They used to be El Guapo. They're one of those bands that keeps reforming and changing their names constantly, so they're impossible to track. But
Oh, that's a good idea.
Super System is one of my favorite iterations of them. Very, very fun band I listened to all through college.
I thought it sounded a little bit like B-52s as well.
Sure.
Let's go with that summer,
Perpetual summer.
yeah, rock vibe. You wouldn't do too bad if you're as big as the B-52s. And how popular? That came out this year in 2016.
Yeah.
And how's it selling? Oh, because no one's buying. What's the deal there? Is it the same system? People are just stealing everything off the internet?
I guess, yes. But it's not, I didn't make CD copies of the songs. It's just like digital.
Yeah, good man. Because it's a total waste of time making a CD, right?
Yeah, but I find so many people like as myself like to go in stores and buy music.
Do you still buy CDs?
Oh yeah, I was at Euclid's today just
You do?
looking through the.
Do you buy CDs, Greg, still?
No, not as much. It's mostly either digital download or vinyl. Generally
Well,
one extreme or the
vinyl's
other.
back. Sarah, what do you buy music on?
No, I am loyal to Spotify.
Me too.
Spotify is a lot of.
I'm
I
always-
really like
Yeah.
Spotify.
Yeah, I think most people, people who come on the show tell us, and Andrew Duval, who's my co-host usually, who's not here today because he's on the road, he says that he makes CDs so people buy them at shows. People like to buy a CD at a show and then they go home with it.
Yeah.
Do you play live much?
Yeah, no. I
Yeah.
usually play with Mara's show.
So you're a sideman in her band, which is called,
Mara Tremblay.
oh, that's just her. Well, we should listen to something by her as well.
Sure.
Well, I'm sure that's more difficult.
Next show.
Yeah,
Next
okay.
week?
Okay, is she's not here, though.
No.
Why don't you drag her down here as well?
I do usually.
Okay. Well, that would be fun to have her on as well.
Sure.
Bring some music with her. That would be great. Okay. How'd you meet her?
She was around for a long time during the 90s playing music in Quebec.
Is she like famous there?
Pretty much.
Okay, so she's a star in Quebec.
Yes. A star.
Star. So we could look her up.
Yes.
Okay. All right. And what's that like being married to a star then? Well, you're not married. Are you married?
No, man.
Okay. That's the funniest line of the day. How long have you been together?
5 years.
Oh, that's pretty long.
Yeah.
Okay.
You
do
married?
do you live together? No, goodness me, are you crazy? Are you married, Greg?
Will be this month.
This month.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
You and your chemist?
Oh,
Kidding.
no, I
That's
wish.
not-
It's legal now.
Yeah.
Ryan, are we going to have to do an alternate wedding? Is that what's going to happen? I think that's what's going to. All right, you know what? It's a good
You and-
idea. I'm just
you
going to
and-
run with it.
You and Ryan are getting married. That's awesome.
We are as of now.
Okay, great. Congratulations, Ryan. That's nice. You make a great couple, you two.
Getting married to my fiance, Ann Marshall. She's a wonderful woman.
This
and,
month?
Yep, this month and
Wow.
end of October.
Holy crap, that's
You'll have
exciting.
such nice weather
Halloween
too. It's
well
cooling
put.
off.
It's going to be a lovely day. Where is it?
It's going to be an Old Ursuline Convent downtown. In the
And a
French Quarter.
convent?
No, Old Ursuline Convent, the French Quarter. You know
it's
what I'm talking
not
about?
actually a convent
No,
today.
not anymore,
That
not
would
in
be
a
a
long
great
time.
place to get married in a convent, though.
I think it'd be a little intense.
Would be a little strange,
I
but
think it'd be a little intense there.
Cheers.
like people get married in a
Southern.
Catholic church after all, which the priest is
That was
celibate.
it.
Okay. Yeah, here's to it. How exciting. And how did you and the future Mrs. Tilton meet?
What was that? I'm sorry.
How did you meet the future Mrs. Tilton?
Red Dress Run a few years ago.
Now, there's nothing
It
more.
was my sister's going away party and Red Dress Run. And,
So you met
yeah.
your future wife while you were wearing a dress.
Yes. The story usually goes, I met her in a red dress. She was not the one wearing it.
Wow. That's a pretty good story.
Yep.
Wait, that's a
I think she
New
mostly saw
Orleans-
me insufferable. We didn't start dating until probably over half a year after that. So I'm pretty sure I was like making up for the damage I probably caused that day.
This is a pretty good story. So it took you 6 months to get her to go out with you?
No, like I mean, I took her on a few dates probably about half a year later, and then we really started dating probably about 2 months later. So
What did you do in the intervening 6 months? That you never called her the whole time?
No, just we were just friends. We had met, and it wasn't like an initial romantic spark or anything. It came over time.
What do you think about that? Is that how it usually is with you?
Had a bit of both.
Really? You had like love
I've
at
had all
first sight?
kinds. I've had all kinds. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this is pretty exciting then.
Yeah. She's a wonderful person.
I hope so. That's very cool. And so
She tolerates me doing podcasting and filmmaking and showing up waking up at 3 a.m. and going to bed at 3 a.m. So tolerates my lifestyle.
you don't wake up and go to bed at 3 o'clock on
It
the same
depends
morning.
depends on the
That
day.
would be- So, what do you do besides making podcasts? And you're in the film business.
Yeah, I run a production company here in town called In Depth Media.
Right.
So my partner Mickey Guidus, he and I run that. We're in the CBD, so we do all kinds of video production and film production. Anything that involves like cameras, expensive pieces of glass, and editing, we probably do it. And then at night, a lot I'm with these guys, 2 or 3 times a week doing podcasts. That's kind of been. I've always been really into just storytelling and narrative building and just any sort of content. So the moment he said podcast, I jumped on. So I'm like, if I'm not doing film, I'm doing podcasts. It's like one or the other. And film's definitely my main hustle and income source, though.
What do you guys at In Depth do? You make films or commercials or what?
All kinds. We've done event work. We did the New Orleans Tango Festival, right? They had that, so we covered that all weekend. We've shot weddings. We've shot music videos. We've staffed camera departments on feature films. I was in Folsom as the cinematographer for a short film this past weekend. It's really anything. We shoot and edit and do it all
So you're
in-house.
not affected by the tax credit changes?
That really that's a very long conversation, but the very short version is that to even qualify for the film tax credits, you have to have a $300,000 budget, and if you're a local, it just switched to $50,000. So you're really like, as a regular gig, you're not going to be normally playing with that kind of money, and it does affect us as some talent has left New Orleans, and as the whole apparatus hasn't exactly sustained itself with a smaller film tax credits, but very purposefully, when we started the company, we did not want to depend on the film tax credits.
Right.
We're like, our main income, our bread and butter needs to be event, commercial, indie, like our own in-house stuff that's not depending on tax credits and outside sources of income. We really want to keep, working with local businesses, working with local artists, keeping it very here so that I'm not moving every 3 years because of a different state's tax codes.
Well, that's pretty smart. Have you found that guys who are making millions of dollars doing those big projects are now in your arena? Because there's no other work?
It just depends. It's the thing is, again, it's a very long conversation, but we have is above the line and below the line is kind of the shorthand is what we use. So Louisiana had a lot of below the line crew, which is your grips and electrics, your gaffers, all your like lighting electrical guys, your sound mixers, all these people, and then above the lines, your producers, your directors, and all these guys, right? The parents of the film, essentially. So you'd have producers and people come down to Louisiana. Louisiana staffs and crews the film. Then they make the film and they leave and edit back in LA. So the tax credits ended. You do have directors here. It's not like they don't exist, but it's just the level of injection of wealth that you have in LA and some other states just isn't here. Louisiana and New Orleans are just not that massive. So you don't have producers walking around throwing $50 million at a movie. It just doesn't happen here.
Right.
And they usually have to be from outside. So it's just a very different conversation, but a lot of video production companies here don't depend on that. We don't do like Hollywood lot style studios. We have like 2 to 10 man team production houses that are like doing rentals. You have, event stuff, a ton of wedding video companies, tons of them, because New Orleans is such a hot spot for weddings. So it's just the business just looks different.
You can get married down here and Greg can shoot it.
There you go. But yeah, the business just looks different here. So the tax credits affected some people and not others.
So you're making a living out of this despite the fact that the tax credits screwed up?
Yeah, it just wasn't it's affected us indirectly, but it's not like the tax credits happened, like we're cut, and then all of a sudden we're like, oh my God, we're now losing X number of dollars a year. It just didn't affect us that directly. It's just kind of a different, it's different, yeah. Kind
That's good news, though, right?
Well, it seems to me that some of the larger companies would have left town, and so it might free up new opportunities for you.
Yeah, it's a lot of the companies that started here are mostly rental houses, and you start to see some post-production, like editing. And a lot of these guys can kind of switch their sites and retool for different types of work. Because in LA, it's so specialized. It's like this is a CGI studio. We have dozens of guys, and all they do is green screen and graphics, and it's very, very like that. But even they've felt some effects of film leaving California, because it's just when you get that specialized, you have to have enough volume to sustain it. It's just it's every state handles it so differently.
All right.
So we'll see how long Atlanta can sustain it. I don't imagine they'll have, like we did, they're not going to have endless tax credits forever. Someone's going to put a cap on it, and we'll see how they react.
So this thing goes around from state to state.
It really does. That's Hollywood's done that forever.
Yeah.
Florida and,
is it going to come back
North Carolina
here?
Felt it bad.
People say it's going to come back here. Is that right?
It depends on some people feel like it didn't leave in the first place. We do have some stuff this year we've got some bigger productions coming in. NCIS New Orleans is still going. You got some TV shows and things. But it's hard to say if the tax credits are uncapped. But Hollywood has this habit of crying wolf. If you even suggest you might put the tiniest touch on their money, they just kind of they cry havoc. I mean, they really lose it. So it's you really can't depend on them to stay forever. If that's your game plan, then you're going to lose no matter what you do.
But the good thing about representing criminals is that there's always going to be criminals.
Unfortunately, in New Orleans, there's a certain level of job security with that.
I would think so. Well, what sort of cases do you have normally? I mean, are you're the person who goes to court and represents these people who are charged with crimes like possession of heroin or conspiracy to do something bad?
That's right.
Okay. So do you have to believe they're innocent when they come to you, or can you just make it up?
Well, in the United States, under our Constitution, we do have a presumption of innocence.
Right.
And that everyone is presumed innocent until they're proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt.
Right, but
they also
go to court and swear to tell the truth.
As an attorney, you do your due diligence, because I have sort of two competing ethical responsibilities. One is to zealously represent my client, but the other is to not make misrepresentations to the court.
Right. Or go to hell, which you'd hope.
Well, not quite that bad. But,
not quite that bad. But so someone comes to you and
it's
says,
not something you would want to do.
But you have to defend people who What I'm asking is, do you have to defend people you believe are guilty?
Yes.
You do.
Yes.
So how do you feel about that, though? Okay.
It depends. I will say that almost all of my clients, I am very proud to say that as humans, I genuinely like all of them. And for every one of my clients, I feel that I have an important lesson to learn from this person. And representing them...
Don't get caught with drugs? That would be one less.
About their life experience, about what brought them to the place that they're in, and how that explains perhaps what they've done, and does the punishment really fit the crime? And so those are all important things that go into each of these cases.
They're all very worthy things to think about, but in reality, though, you're going to court and telling the only way you can either agree that someone's guilty and not represent them, or go to court believing they're guilty and represent them believing they're guilty and try and get them off.
Well, again,
there's something wrong with the system.
It is not. It is never that black and white.
Right.
It is never that black and white. It is never that cut and dry.
Well, this is my theory about the justice system. The first thing that anyone says in a court before a trial starts is that they swear to tell the truth. And
that's right.
And then nobody does.
That's also the prosecution witnesses, too. I don't think
But if
that.
everyone just told the truth,
I
you
don't
wouldn't need
believe
it.
that.
If
I don't
everyone-
believe that everybody makes things up.
If everyone told the truth, there wouldn't have to be a court case. Somebody would say, "Did you actually do X, Y, Z?" And somebody else would say, "Yes, I did," and that would be it.
Well, that's not
Well,
true
no, I
because
didn't,
we
then
have
we'd
a
all believe
whole
it.
set of rights. And it's not just a matter of did I do this or did I not do this, but was the procedure that got me here the correct one, the constitutional one, the legal one? Because we have all these rules that we have to follow before we do that.
What are we actually talking about? What does that mean?
What do you mean?
What does it mean in reality? Like if I'm charged with, what could I be charged with? Well, same as conspiracy to do something with heroin. What sort of procedure would
Well,
have got all
you have
fucked up?
certain Fourth Amendment rights to your property and your privacy interests that without reasonable suspicion you can't be stopped, without probable cause they can't come in and search your home. And so there are certain safeguards through the process that allow the courts
Right.
and us to balance our rights and our interests against the government's interest in law enforcement.
Okay. And can President Trump fuck any of this up?
Sure.
How?
By appointing people with certain kinds of ideas to the Supreme Court.
And that could easily happen. Someone's going to get to appoint whoever the next justice is to the Supreme Court within the first 5 minutes of being president.
That could happen, or another way to do it is by executive order. And we have seen a lot of things that the Department of Justice has been doing. Obviously, everybody knows about the NSA and Edward Snowden. And obviously, that was all done without Supreme Court intervention. And so, of course, there are a lot of things that our federal government can do, not necessarily with a Supreme Court decision.
Can the president just have some sort of a whimsical thought at 7 o'clock in the morning and by 11:30 it's an executive order and it's done?
Well, a little bit. And I would give an example of that, and that is how you have, for instance, the Attorney General through the Department of Justice issuing certain memoranda saying that this is how I want my prosecutors to handle certain kinds of cases. Only under these instances do I want my prosecutors to seek a certain kind of sentencing enhancement, or only in these kinds of cases do I want a U.S. Attorney's Office to seek the death penalty. And so I do believe that those kinds of things, which don't really have the force of law, but that greatly impact criminal prosecutions as a matter of practice, are something that, yes, somebody can wake up in the morning and say, I think this is how we're going to do this.
So this presidential election is pretty serious then.
Absolutely.
Maybe time to start taking it seriously, Sonny, instead of just kidding around like that. Should we get out of here and before we go take a listen to one more of your songs?
What do you mean?
Yes or no?
Leave the country or leave New Orleans?
Well, no,
You should never
we're
leave
not
New
doing
Orleans.
either. We're not leaving the country or New Orleans. We're leaving here. Wayfare. We have to get out of here and make way for paying customers at some point.
Oh, right.
So what I'm getting at is before we leave, let's take a listen to something else. What have we got lined up, Thomas?
You got either sandbar, dominoes, or another one in French that I can't speak.
What's a good one that I can talk over and do the credits of the show over?
Try Sandbar.
Sandbar. Okay, tell us a little bit about this one, Sonny.
I wanted to... if you listen to the beat and the instruments, it's a little bit my tribute to the what is it called? Miami Vice.
Miami
theme song.
Vice. Oh,
Yeah,
right
theme
on. The heat is
song.
on.
There's some ZZ Top in there. There's a little bit of Beck. There's
You mean you've stolen it off these songs? These
no. It's
artists, or
just,
you
sometimes I just get ideas,
Right.
and it makes me think of somebody in a like the where. That's to me that's Beck inspired.
What is-
And the
It doesn't stop and start like this on the
No.
track. This
It's
is Thomas. Thomas is it.
And if you listen to the hi-hats, to me, that's ZZ Top right there. She's got legs.
Oh, yeah. Thomas, what's going on with that?
It's all the internet.
It's the internet here at Wayfare. We need to move the whole show down the place where the signal's stronger. I'm sorry, Sonny, that's insulting.
So just look me up, Sonny Duval.
Sonny Duval.
with a U.
We have a link
Duval
to you.
with a U
We
also.
have a, Sonny Duval spelled D-U-V-A-L. You could change
Yeah.
your name to Sonny D.
No.
Have you ever thought about that?
No.
I have a lawyer
That's
for
way
you if
too
they
sweet.
sue you. Don't worry about
And
that.
Sonny Records or something. But that's actually my label. But with a U.
The label is Sonny Records.
Yeah.
Okay. But Sonny Duval is spelled D-U-V-A-L. We have a link to it on our website. Sonny, thanks for joining us. And
My pleasure.
Thanks for coming to New Orleans. Hope we
I
get
will
to
keep
see
coming
you,
back.
your bicycle, and your girlfriend soon.
Yes.
As well. Greg Tilton has been here as well. Greg, thanks for joining us on Happy Hour
course.
today, and we look forward to hearing plenty more of Rumour Flies podcast, also in Latin. Hey, look, what's this? Ryan's got something for us. Oh, just waving around. And Sara Johnson's been here as well. Sarah, thanks for joining us. And
Happy
can we
marriage.
find you? Can we find you online somewhere?
Thank you for having me. And no, I don't have a website.
We don't have anything to
I'm
do.
the under the radar lawyer.
So, are you at a private law firm, or are you with some?
I have my own practice.
What's it called? You don't want to mention that either. Oh my goodness! All right. What if I was looking for an attorney?
You can just Google Sara Johnson.
Sarah Johnson. Sarah has
Attorney,
no
New Orleans.
H at the end. Okay.
No H.
Sarah with no H. Well, thanks for joining us. That's been Happy Hour for today. The producer of our show is Graham DePonte. Our music director is Christian Unruh. Thomas Walsh is our technical director, and our live feed directors are Asher Griffith and Grayson Jernigan, who are responsible for Facebook Live. This whole show is on Facebook Live if you want to go find it. Our theme music was written by and is being played by Mitch Foreman. If you'd like to be on our show and you can stay upright for about an hour, drop us a line. Our address is on our website, itsneworleans.com, where you can also find many other hours of Happy Hour for your enjoyment and some other shows that we make here as well. Out to Lunch with Peter Raschuti, live from Commander's Palace, True to the Game, with Chris True, Midnight Menu +1, with Margot Moss and the man who ate New Orleans, Ray Canata, Louisiana Eats with Poppy Tooker, Milo's Music Parlor with Kim Vu, the podcast about death called Death, the podcast with psychologist Dr. Arian Alfant, Questions from the Waiting Room with psychiatrist Nick Pajic, and the inimitable Psych Ward with Dr. Ross Shields. You can also find other great Louisiana podcasts at itsacadiana.com and at itsbatonrouge.la. You can keep up with us on Facebook and on Twitter and a bunch of other time-sucking social media as well. And all of it, we're called It's New Orleans. You can find photos from this show on itsneworleans.com and on our Facebook page. These photos were taken today by Catherine King. Alison Moon is away for the day somewhere, I think shooting a wedding, actually, by the way. If you're listening to this show on your own podcast app, thanks for subscribing to us. Take a moment to rate and review us. That helps other people find us. Our show is recorded live today at the fabulous Wayfare on Ferret Street in Uptown New Orleans. Happy Hour is a production of I Know Broadcasting for itsneworleans.com. For Andrew Duhon, who's around the country somewhere, you can find him at andrewduhon.com and see him at perhaps a town near you. I'm Grant Morris. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you back here next week on Happy Hour. Okay.
Hay muchas maneras de enviar dinero a casa, y todas las empresas me prometen buenos tipos de cambio y transferencias seguras. Puede ser abrumador. Comencé a utilizar Remitly porque puedo seguir mi dinero en cada paso, lo que me permite saber exactamente cuándo mi mamá recibirá su dinero. Y con su extensa red de pagos, mi mamá puede recibir su dinero de una manera más conveniente y segura para ella. Ve a remitly.com o descarga su aplicación para comenzar. Remitly Inc. es un medio para transferir dinero autorizado por los estados de Nueva York, California, Massachusetts y otros estados.